Forget forgotten gym memberships and abandoned diets. Imagine a New Year's resolution so deeply broken, so profoundly unfulfilled, that it anchors your very spirit to this world, manifesting every December 31st. Tonight, we unearth the truly terrifying side of New Year's resolutions, the ghostly oaths that haunt the turning of the year after year. These aren't just stories, they're warnings from the grave. What if some promises, some resolutions, don't just fade away with our memory? What if they transcend death itself? What if, on the final night of the year, they manifest as spectral figures, forever bound to their unfulfilled vows? This is the realm of the ghostly oath, a chilling concept where the line between commitment and curse blurs into nothing. These are the spirits who can't move on, not because of a tragic death, but because of a promise they failed to keep in life. As the clock ticks towards midnight, they rise, not to celebrate, but to relive their greatest failure, trapped in an eternal loop of regret. Our first story takes us to the windswept coast of Maine, to the year 1888. Elias Vance was a lighthouse keeper, a man known for his solitary nature and his unwavering dedication to the light. But he had one weakness: the bottle. For years, his drinking had been a quiet shame, a shadow that clung to him even in the bright beam of his lighthouse. As a brutal winter storm gathered on New Year's Eve, Elias made a solemn vow. He stood before the flickering lamp, his hand on a Bible, and swore to his absent wife and child that he would never touch another drop of alcohol. "This light will not fail," he declared, "and neither will I." He believed this time would be different. This resolution, he felt, was sacred. But as the night wore on, the storm raged with a fury he'd never seen. The isolation gnawed at him, the cold seeped into his bones, and the hidden flask in his coat called to him like a siren's song. He told himself just one sip would warm him, just one to steady his nerves against the howling wind. But one sip became two, and then the whole flask was empty. In his drunken stupor, he neglected his duties. The great lamp, the beacon that guided ships through the treacherous waters, sputtered and died. That very night, a passenger ship, blinded by the storm and missing the lighthouse's guidance, crashed upon the rocks. There were no survivors. Elias was found the next morning, frozen solid, the empty flask clutched in his hand. His resolution was not just broken, it was shattered, with catastrophic consequences. And so, his ghostly oath was forged. Now, every December 31st, as the wind howls and the waves crash against the Maine coast, locals report a strange phenomenon. A faint, flickering light appears in the ruins of the old lighthouse. Some say they see the spectral figure of a man, desperately trying to relight a lamp that no longer exists. He's seen scrambling around the tower, his ghostly form radiating a palpable sense of panic and regret. He is forever trapped in that final, fateful night, doomed to repeat his failure, his broken promise echoing through time as a silent, chilling warning. His spirit isn't bound by malice, but by the crushing weight of a resolution he couldn't keep, a duty he failed to uphold. Let's journey now from the cold Atlantic coast to the opulent ballrooms of 1920s Vienna. This is the story of Lady Eleonora von Strauss, a woman celebrated for her beauty and grace, but infamous for her vanity. Her reflection was her closest confidant and her cruelest critic. As the years advanced, she became obsessed with preserving her youthful appearance. On New Year's Eve of 1926, surrounded by mirrors in her grand dressing room, she made a pact, not with a deity, but with her own reflection. "I swear," she whispered, her voice trembling with conviction, "that I will never allow a single wrinkle to mar this face. I will remain forever young, forever beautiful." It was a resolution born of pure narcissism, a promise to defy time itself, To uphold this impossible vow, Eleonora resorted to extreme and dangerous measures. She subjected herself to bizarre and painful treatments, using concoctions of questionable origin and shunning the sunlight like a vampire. She alienated her friends and family, her obsession consuming her entire life. Her once vibrant social life withered away, leaving her isolated in her gilded cage, her only company the mirrors that reflected her increasingly fragile, almost translucent, form. One year, on the eve of the new year, her loyal maid found her lifeless in front of her vanity, a small, silver-handled mirror in her hand. She hadn't aged, it was true, but she had faded from life itself, a victim of her own impossible resolution. Her oath, however, did not die with her. The von Strauss mansion is now a museum, but staff and late-night visitors whisper of an unsettling presence, particularly on December 31st. They speak of a sudden, inexplicable chill that descends upon Eleonora's former chambers. More disturbingly, they report that all the mirrors in the room begin to fog over, as if by an unseen breath. And then, for a fleeting moment, a face appears in the condensation, not the face of a terrifying hag, but the flawlessly beautiful face of a young Eleonora, her eyes wide with a look of eternal, haunting sorrow. She is forever bound to her reflection, a ghostly prisoner of her own vanity, her resolution to remain beautiful trapping her spirit between the world of the living and the silvered glass. Her story serves as a chilling reminder that some promises are best left unmade. Our final tale comes from the dusty, sun-baked plains of the American West in the late 1800s. It concerns a man known only as Silas Silvertongue, a notorious gambler and con artist. Silas could talk anyone into anything. His promises were as smooth as polished river stones and just as hollow. He left a trail of broken hearts and empty pockets from town to town. But one winter, he fell genuinely in love with a woman named Clara, the daughter of a stern preacher. For her, he wanted to change. On New Year's Eve, he stood before her and her father and made the most sincere resolution of his life. "I swear on my soul," he said, his voice uncharacteristically steady, "I will never again cheat a man or tell a lie. I will live an honest life." For a few months, Silas kept his word. He took up honest work as a farm hand, and for the first time in his life, he was truly happy. But the lure of easy money was a powerful addiction. A traveling poker tournament came to town, with a prize pot larger than he could make in 5 years of hard labor. He told himself it would be just one last game. He promised Clara he was just going to watch. But once the cards were in his hands, old habits took over. He cheated, using all his old tricks, and he won. But as he raked in his dishonest winnings, a man he had swindled earlier recognized him and called him out. A fight broke out, a gun was drawn, and in the chaos, Silas was shot and killed, dying on the floor of the saloon with a deck of marked cards spilling from his pocket. His soul, sworn to honesty, was now forfeit. The legend says that every New Year's Eve, the ghost of Silas Silvertongue appears in poker games across the Old West. Players in historic saloons and backroom games report a chilling phenomenon. A stranger will join their table, a charismatic man with old-fashioned clothes and silver in his hair. He never speaks, only plays. He plays an honest game, folding on good hands, losing gracefully. He plays until the first stroke of midnight. Then, as the clock chimes, he simply fades away, leaving his winnings on the table. He is not there to win. He is there to fulfill his broken oath. He is condemned to spend eternity playing the honest game he couldn't manage in life. His ghostly penance a silent testament to a resolution that cost him his life and his soul. These tales of ghostly oaths, from the remorseful lighthouse keeper to the vain lady and the dishonest gambler are more than just ghost stories. They tap into a fundamental human experience, the act of making a promise. A New Year's resolution is a contract we make with ourselves, a vow to be better. But what these stories suggest is that the energy, the intent behind that vow, can be powerful enough to echo beyond the grave. When a resolution is tied to a profound failure, a deep regret, or a tragic outcome, it creates a spiritual scar, an anchor that tethers the soul to its moment of breaking. The spirit is not held by chains, but by the sheer, crushing weight of its own unfulfilled promise. It's a haunting cycle of what if, played out for eternity every December 31st. So as you watch the ball drop and make your own resolutions for the year to come, maybe give a thought to Elias, Eleonora, and Silas. Remember that your promises have power. Choose them wisely, commit to them fully, but also be kind to yourself. After all, you wouldn't want a forgotten promise to come back and haunt you. Make your resolutions with hope and intention, not with the kind of desperate finality that could bind you for an eternity. Be better, but be forgiving, because no one wants to become the subject of a ghost story told on a future New Year's Eve. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these chilling tales, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the unknown. Happy New Year, and sleep well.